This movie keeps falling on my head, and I say I cannot wait to review this masterpiece. I'm gonna review this movie because this movie keeps falling on my head. Make it falling. Hey guys, this is Frozen Things Stews here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today, I'm gonna be doing a review on Spider-Man 2 as a continuation to my Spider-Man movie reviews leading up to Across the Spider-Verse. So Spider-Man 2 is the second installment in the Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, directed by Sam Raimi, and came out in the year 2004, aka my birth month and the best in the best year of 2000s and one of the best years period. And it stars Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, James Franco, Rosemary Harris, J.K. Simmons, and also Elizabeth Banks, Bruce Campbell, and new additions who include Alfred Molina, Dylan Baker, and someone else I forgot who, but whatever. So Spider-Man 2 tells a story of Peter Parker whose life is in trouble and his life is falling apart. Like, yeah, sure, he is Spider-Man and he is the hero, but unfortunately his personal life as Peter Parker is not doing so well. He loses Mary Jane because Mary Jane is engaged to someone else, and Mary Jane apparently now hates him, and he got fired from a job from his pizza delivery job, and not only that, but he even loses his Spider-Man powers at one point. So now broke. He's a broken hero, and he pretty much and he pretty much realizes that this his life is dangerous. He thinks becoming Spider-Man, and I mean balancing his life between Spider-Man and Peter Parker is no use now. So like for a couple of there's an entire act with Peter Parker just being Peter Parker without Spider-Man, and but when a brilliant scientist named Dr. Otto Octavius becomes Dr. Octopus and becomes a villain to build this thing that weapon that could destroy the city, Peter Parker must go back to becoming Spider-Man to be able to save it. So basically, this whole movie can be summed up in a line from Spider-Man No Way Home. The problem is Peter Parker. The problem is you trying to live two different lives, and the more you do that, the more dangerous it becomes. That's basically how I sum up this movie. Basically, Spider-Man learning that between like having a balance with balancing his life between Peter Parker and Spider-Man, having two different lives can come and cause some serious life consequences. So yes, Spider-Man 2. The first Spider-Man movie is an absolute classic. I raved about it in my initial review, and I said like I expressed how much I really love that first Spider-Man movie. Yes, it's not my favorite Spider-Man movie, but I will say it's easily in my top five favorite Spider-Man movies. Yeah, that movie is just a classic. Yeah, sure, there are some cheesy stuff. There are some elements that are cheesy and outdated, but I love it either way. I think that movie it's a movie that was actually the very first superhero movie I ever saw in my life. So I'll cherish that movie, that moment where I started watching a superhero movie for the first time. Now, one thing I forgot to mention in my review of that Spider-Man movie is that it is actually dark. That movie actually had that movie actually had the balls to be dark. There's like considering that Green Goblin is such a terrifying villain. The movie does have a lot of jump scares, and it's not afraid, especially when Spider-Man is one of the more family-friendly superheroes. Now, yes, I'll start by saying Spider-Man 2 is not as dark as the first one. It's a tiny bit more lighthearted, but it does have some dark elements to it as well. But yeah, I'm considering that Spider-Man is a masterpiece. I mean, how much better than I mean, like considering that Spider-Man is a masterpiece, can Spider-Man 2 get any better than this? Well, technically, this is the fan favorite Spider-Man movie. A lot of people I know are consider like say that this is the best Spider-Man movie. Even if we have Into the Spider-Verse and No Way Home, like those two movies, like both a lot of people I know. Well, some say Into the Spider-Verse is truly most people I know say Into the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie, but I mean, it's unanimously agreed upon that by most that this is the best live-action Spider-Man movie ever made, and yeah, and even over No Way Home. But yeah, yeah. To me personally, this is the movie that I grew up with. The superhero movie. Like, yeah, sure. As much as I love Spider-Man One, it wasn't really one of my absolute favorite movies growing up. I only watched it like maybe 2 or 3 times. But Spider-Man Two is my go-to Spider-Man movie. If I want to watch a superhero movie, like when I was younger, this is my go-to movie right here. This is the movie that, yeah, this was one of my comfort movie, and I think this is actually my favorite live-action movie. Yeah, sure. Most of my favorite. Sorry guys, there's a construction going on, but there's a construction going on in my house. But yeah, most of my favorite movies back then in my childhood were animated movies. But Spider-Man 2 was actually my favorite live-action movie growing up. And my favorite superhero movie. So this movie really means a lot to me. As a child and growing up, I still remember watching this movie all the time, and not only that, but I even I even like imitated the raindrops keep falling in my head, but when Peter walking, and then the song "The Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head." That song plays in the background. I like when I was 10 years old, like around 9 or 10. I imitated that scene. Like I made my own version of the scene while singing it, the song, and then walking like Peter while walking. Like every time I walk, that scene always pops out in my head. And then I even like also kept on singing the Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Like how the Chinese lady sings it. I always sing it. Yeah, that's how much this movie meant to me as a child. And this was in my top 10 favorite movies. Again, not my absolute favorite because I was more into animated movies back then. Because like pretty much how the VR community is like nowadays. But yeah, but now that I've rewatched it and I'm finally gonna review one of my favorite movies growing up, does this movie hold up? Hell freaking yes, and yes, people, this movie is still a masterpiece, and I can't believe how good this was. And this is the most certainly the best of the the best in the Spider-Man trilogy, no competition. Now, I will say that this is not the best Spider-Man movie like what everyone else says. Like, I know like so there are some people who say that this is the best Spider-Man movie in general, even if we got Spider-Verse and No Way Home. To me personally, I still think No Way Home. I still think No Way Home is the best Spider-Man movie, and I would and No Way Home, and also I would personally put No Way Home and unpopular opinion Far From Home over this movie. Yeah, to say that Far From Home is better, to say that I prefer Far From Home better than this movie, might be one of my biggest hot takes. Because there are people who say that Far From Home is mid and it's not that good. But to me personally, I think Far From Home is the most underrated Spider-Man movie. I adore No Way Home. I mean, no, Far From Home. I love that movie so much, and that movie is very personal to me, and it is definitely one of my absolute favorite movies of 2019. In fact, it's my second favorite live-action movie of 2019, and my third favorite movie of 2019, behind Frozen 2 and Endgame. Well, those two are obviously the best movies of 2019. Like, what else can it be? But Far From Home, yeah, I'll certainly talk about Far From Home and explain the reasons as to why I prefer Far From Home over Spider-Man 2. But Spider-Man 2 is definitely my top four. I'd say Spider-Man, yeah, this is in my top four. I mean, yeah, this movie is a masterpiece. But I will say this is my favorite movie of 2004 now. Yes, when I made my top 10, when I made my favorite movies from every year I saw a live video, I said that, I put The Incredibles as my favorite movie of 2004, and I said that I'm actually thinking about putting Spider-Man as my favorite movie of the year, but I need to rewatch it first. And now I did, and I can definitely confirm that this movie overtakes The Incredibles as the best movie 2004. I mean, yeah, sure, I love The Incredibles. The Incredibles is a masterpiece, and maybe when I watch Incredibles again, it could probably take the throne back as the best movie 2004. Although I will say it's probably because Spider-Man 2 is more flawless right now. That's probably why. Because The Incredibles, while it is a masterpiece, is a significantly flawless film. I think that movie, I will say that, I will admit though, I find the animation to be a tad bit outdated, like 10% outdated, like 10% outdated, the movie. So, and that's probably why I prefer Incredibles 2, because I think Incredibles 2 will probably age well. And yes, I will certainly review Incredibles 2 at some point. But yeah, this. Okay, well, Yeah, I mean, you got my point already. But yeah, Spider-Man 2, I think this is a flawless movie. Would I call this a perfect movie? I'll actually have to think about that. I'll have to think about it if I would call this a perfect movie. But it is actually flawless. There is no complaints about this movie whatsoever. And although I may feel like I'm actually judging this for the nostalgia. Like I've been talking about nostalgia for like the last 10 minutes of this review. Let's talk about the actual reasons as to why this movie is a masterpiece and why this is a perfect sequel to the first Spider-Man that even surpasses the first Spider-Man movie in every way possible. In fact, I can't think of I can't think of anything the first Spider-Man does better. Well, the only thing I would say the first Spider-Man does, I will say that the only thing that Spider-Man 1 does better than this is Mary Jane Watson. Yeah, I said that Mary Jane Watson, I'll admit, yeah, she may be a dick in this sequel, like because of how she gets engaged with someone else, well, someone that we don't know anything about. And instead of Peter, and then would be like, oh, it's not about you, it's about me. I mean, she may be selfish, but I personally, I don't think Mary Jane was a bad character in this movie. I don't think Mary Jane was a bad character. I understand why Mary Jane. Well, maybe yes. You know what? Yeah, I wouldn't call this like a perfect movie because of Mary Jane being kind of selfish and stuff. Um, Being selfish, but I mean, but I don't hate her as much as other people do. And yeah, I mean, Mary Jane Spider-Man 3 though, oh boy, that's a story for another day. But yeah, I understand why she betrayed Peter, why she dumped Peter. I mean, it's I understand it, but I will say Mary Jane is the weak link in the film, but she's not bad. She's not that bad of a character. I think she she actually makes a good point as to why she did what she did to Peter. So she's not bad. But yeah, I will say I still really like her. I just think that she's way more likable in the first movie. She was actually pretty likable in Spider-Man 1, and she's also hotter as well, I should add. She's a bit more gorgeous in the first film, in my opinion. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, Mary Jane is great in this movie. But I think one of probably the highlights as to why I love Spider-Man 2 is because of Peter Parker's character arc. I mean, yeah, I mean, in the first film, Peter Parker, must learn the responsibilities of being a superhero, while he actively tries to become a superhero for the first time after being bitten by a radioactive spider. In this movie, Peter Parker pretty much ups that deal. I mean, Peter Parker's character arc is a lot deeper. In fact, yeah, this movie is really deep. Yeah, and the way that they explained how Peter Parker well, how do I say this? Peter Parker's struggling with his life, yeah, and he learns that being a hero can have consequences when you try to balance your life between being a hero and being a normal human being. I mean, that's where things go wrong because because you gotta balance those two lives. I mean, you gotta balance being Spider-Man while also trying to rush with schedules as Peter Parker, but Peter doesn't want to be recognized as Spider-Man. He doesn't want the world to know that he's Spider-Man. So he must be able to balance those things, and they really have consequences. MJ dumps Peter. Well, then again, that's probably why I would give MJ dumping Peter a pass. What MJ does, that's why I give that a pass because it's part of because it plays a huge part in Peter's character arc of having to grow as a character. Like yeah, that's the thing. This movie knows how to grow its characters, and they do that with Peter Parker very well, like very perfectly, I should say. This movie has some of the best character developments I have ever seen. And also we see Peter Parker in his normal life. I mean, we don't see Spider-Man as much as the last film because of how Peter Parker loses his powers as a consequence to trying to hide his identity and trying to balance being having two different lives. That's pretty much the cause of it. Like he loses his powers and now he becomes normal again. Yeah, you probably noticed that the change in Peter after he loses his powers. He has good grades again. He actually makes it to Mary Jane Watson's play. And he actually has has a good job, and people actually appreciate him now. But when he was Spider-Man, everyone hated him. Even Harry Osborn betrays Peter, but and even Harry Osborn betrays Peter. I'll admit though, I feel like uh, I will admit though, I feel like Harry Osborn's reason for betraying Peter was kind of Harry Osborn's reason for betraying Peter was kind of thin. I don't know, but not like the best reason for Harry Osborn to be like hurt, like slapping Peter like that in the face and saying that he's no longer Peter's friend. That's not the best reason to say. Oh, because you turned Spider-Man. It's your fault that my father died because he didn't catch Spider-Man. I'm sorry, but I mean that's probably my nitpick with the film. That's probably my one nitpick. Mary Jane being unlikable this one, I wouldn't even consider a nitpick because it makes sense. It makes sense in the context of the film, but yeah, maybe yeah, this would be a flaw. I'll probably have to rethink about it. If this is really my favorite movie, 2004. Maybe like The Incredibles could go back to being my favorite movie, 2004 on rewatch. But I mean, it's really tough between. It's really hard to decide between this and The Incredibles right now. But maybe Spider-Man 2 because it's like a live action movie, I guess, and it's a Spider-Man movie and a Marvel movie. But again, we'll have to like really see for myself. But yeah, besides Peter Parker's character arc, I mean the story is really strong. It's such a strong story, like a very relatable story at that. Yeah, I mean pretty much the whole story is basically just about Peter Parker's character arc, losing his having to deal with balancing between Peter Parker and Spider-Man, having to deal with balancing between two different lives, and the other characters are really good as well. Like the visual effects are decent, are pretty good. Although I don't think this deserved to win. Although I disagree with this movie winning Best Visual Effects for the Oscars, I think Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban should have won Best Visual Effects. I think that is a better looking movie at 2004. But I mean, Spider-Man 2 is the better movie, so I'm glad at least they gave it to a Marvel movie. But yeah, then again, yeah. Okay, well, what else is there to say? Oh yeah, let's talk about the best character in the film. Doctor Octopus or Doc Ock. Like I prefer calling him Doc Ock in my opinion. Yeah. I mean if you thought that Green Goblin was great enough of a villain, oh boy, prepare yourself for Doc Ock. He is a better villain in my opinion. He's one of the best Spider-Man villains. I would say he's my second favorite Spider-Man villain. My favorite Spider-Man villain would still be Mysterio and Far From Home, but I mean yeah, I mean, but Doc Ock is certainly my second favorite Spider-Man villain. I just think he's such a menace, but at the same time, I mean, Alfred Molina just gives a better performance than Willem Dafoe. In fact, yeah, I'll probably have to think about it, like who's the better villain. But right now, I'm gonna go for Doc Ock. Yeah, he's the. But you know what? Thinking about it, I think that Spider-Man himself is the best character in the movie, in my opinion. Like Spider-Man's arc, like you really can't ignore that. But you really can't ignore that. But I mean, Doc Ock is an amazing villain, best villain in the Raimi trilogy. The first film, Green Goblin, got to be the best character. As much as I would have loved to say Doc Ock is the best character in the movie, I think that Peter Parker deserves that title, in my opinion, because Peter Parker's arc is just way too strong for me not to say he's the best character. And also Aunt May too. Even Aunt May got an upgrade. I mean, as much as I love I mean, as much as I love Marisa Tomei's Aunt May, this Aunt May is this is the best we see from Aunt May. Like in any Spider-Man movie, no matter what version. Like Aunt May is so like Aunt May, like they even made Aunt May so deep, like being such an inspirational like there's like such like she's so inspirational to Peter Parker. She even gives a inspirational speech, like there's always a hero in all of us, like something like that. But I forgot I don't memorize the entire quote of the movie, but yeah, it's really good as well. But then there is the action. Oh my god! I mean, the action was not the strongest aspect of Spider-Man, but in this one, it is among the strongest aspect of Spider-Man 2. The action scenes are absolutely incredible. Like from the first action scene to the last, like the final battle, the final battle to like there's not like and then the Spider-Man versus Doc Ock and Empire State Building. I mean, on top of it, to the best part of the film is definitely the train scene. I mean, that scene alone is literally an iconic scene in Spider-Man. I mean, I love the Rage of Keep Falling on My Head sequence, the sequence, the one where we get Peter Parker's normal life. That scene is kind of my comfort moment. Like, if I want to watch a movie scene for comfort, I would watch that. But I mean, the train scene is easily the best scene in the film. Like seeing Peter like stop the train with all his might, yeah, yeah, all his might. Yeah, that scene was amazing, a beautiful, and yeah, seeing the fire battle is great in the warehouse. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about it. Overall, Spider-Man 2 is such an upgrade from the first film. This movie is such a masterpiece, and it's the best movie 2004. It's not the best Spider-Man movie like what some make it out to be, but I absolutely love this movie. Like, it's just amazing. So with that said, guys, I'm gonna give Spider-Man 2 a 10 out of 10. This would be my top 20 favorite. This would be my top 20 favorite movies of all time. This. So also for my review of Spider-Man 2, what is your opinion of this movie? Are you with who agrees with me that this is the best in the Sam Raimi trilogy? Um, are you standing with the people who say that this is the best Spider-Man movie in general, or do you agree with me that No Way Home and Spider-Verse are better? And also, to an extent, Far From Home, but I don't think anyone will agree. I don't think anyone will agree with that. Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my rant. Oh boy, my Spider-Man reviews will go downhill from here because, I mean, after this film, we're not gonna get a good Spider-Man movie in a while. Yeah, stay tuned for my review of Spider-Man 3. Not review. It's gonna be a rant. Oh boy. So yeah, bye guys.